Hey there, and welcome to today's video. For today's video, we are, surprise, surprise, going to be building a cottage. Now, the reason why we're building a cottage, in case you're not aware, just yesterday, Cottage Living released. But like always, I wanted to try to build a cottage that was base game only. Now, I was going to do it without using move objects at first, but I really wanted this to be very luscious. So I decided to just use move objects because I was going to need it for a lot of the plants as it is anyways. Now it is base game only, but I didn't use any debug items this time. It is completely items that you can find in the catalog, and I had a lot of fun building this one because it was actually a lot more items than what I expected that I could use in this cottage theme. Now, this one is based off of a picture that I found on the internet. And it's a bit of an amalgamation of a few different pictures, so I'll put them up here and there just so you can see what I was looking at and what I was referencing when some of these things were coming to life. Especially the color scheme, I think you can tell right away from the thumbnail that this is not a color scheme that I would have done at all. I don't think I would have done anything that was red with blue like this, but it ended up looking pretty similar to what the picture was, and the color scheme was one of the reasons why I chose the house. I thought it looked so cute, and realistically, the colors actually looked very good, so I thought, would this look good on The Sims? I think it does, even though it's not something that I would have done straight away. I'm glad that I went out of my comfort zone for this one. Now, along with Cottage Living, there are a few things and features that they've added to the game or they've patched. Among them, I will no longer be putting that I use move objects in my descriptions. I was reading through the patch notes, and apparently that is something that you can now see on the gallery. I haven't actually tried to download any houses, but from what I understand, they now give you a prompt saying that the house utilized move objects when it was being built, so you would turn it on before trying to place a lot. If you don't know about it, the thing is that when you're going to place a lot down and you don't have move objects on, but the person that built the house did have move objects on, chances are there are some items that are going to be deleted or removed whenever you place a lot because it needs move objects to be able to place outside of the grid. That's basically the only difference move objects will do. Sure enough, there are also items that can be in the way of Sims if you use move objects every time you build, but that's the whole reason why playtesting is a thing, and don't worry, this lot is completely playtested. Another feature that was added is we now have a whole new terrain tool, which is for ponds. I was very excited about this new feature. In case you are relatively new or haven't noticed by now, I like building things with water a lot. I like building ponds in general, especially since I like the depth of it when you're trying to make something like a beach or something like that. But that is actually a fountain tool. So I've been using it as ponds for the longest time, and now we actually have a tool that is dedicated for it. The thing I am most excited about with this, though, is that they made it interactable, so your sim can now go and splash in the water and things like that, with a pond that is right in your lot. Let's put it that way, because I believe if you went to something like a river that had a slope down, you could do that as well before. But now you can build one basically anywhere you want, and it will still work. They can still interact with the water. The thing I love the most, though, is that you can actually add life to your pond, and I mean that very literally. You can add tadpoles, there's new lily pads that you can have frogs interact with. You can even add some fish, an alligator, some ducks. It's honestly yours for the taking. You can do whatever you want with this new pond tool, and I think that is just absolutely amazing. I know a lot of these updates are done because of the new packs that they're making, but at the same time, I really gotta appreciate how they're integrating this into base game, even if it's because it's something they need regardless. Things like stairs that you can shift around, or platforms, or even just being able to place doors outside of the grid. All these things that they have been doing for base game in general just take the game to a completely other level, and I think all players can appreciate this. Even if you did buy the pack just because you wanted the tool and they didn't integrate it into base game, it's just nice for them to have thought of, hey, we might as well just put this into base game and let everyone use it. So there's a whole bunch of other updates that went on. A lot of new items were added as well, some hairstyles, some pictures here and there. I've just mentioned a couple of things, and you would think that's not a lot, but considering that base game is technically you paid for it already and you're not getting any of the packs, it's a lot of items to get for completely free. Now, enough rambling, let's go back to the build itself. I mentioned that I wanted this to be very luscious. A big part of that reason was the pictures I was referencing as it is. But I also wanted this to be very cottagey, so I tried to avoid putting a lot of paintings in general, and I wanted this to be fairly small as well. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been to a cottage, but they are cramped. They try to put as many bedrooms as they can in the very little space that there is. There is a reason for it at the end of the day. You are there to enjoy wildlife or a beach or whatever it is that this cottage is situated in. In this case, I just put it next to one of the rivers since there aren't that many lots in just base game. But the point being that I wanted this to be very cramped and I wanted it to be very functional as well, even if you were to take this and say, hey, this actually exists in real life. So this small house actually ended up having 3 bedrooms and can sleep 6 Sims. I could have made it to sleep a few more if I really wanted to squeeze some stuff in, but I really wanted to have at least 3x2 bathroom. So I wanted to include a bathtub in case someone wanted to add a toddler to this house. And I really worked around where the fireplace was. You probably would have seen me do and redo the layout 100 times, which I cut out a lot of it specifically because of that. But I really wanted to use a fireplace since the original house that I was referencing had a fireplace as well. And another thing, I've been watching a lot of James Turner playing Cottage Living. He was very insistent on having a mudroom, and seeing the little bump out that this house had at the left side of the house, I just kept thinking, how could I not make that a mudroom as well? With that, I also didn't want to make this super modern. I did add some things here and there, like a TV and a radio and whatnot. But like many cottages, it's not super modern, or that is not the priority at the very least, so I really didn't want to make that a priority in this one either. And I think I was fairly successful with keeping a lot of woods around, a lot of different tones as well, keeping a lot of wallpaper that probably would have been there for years and years. So all in all, I had a lot of fun since this was very different from what I would have built on my own. And I find that using pictures to reference will really help you with that type of thing. But anyways, we are getting close to the end of the video, so let me know what you thought of this one down below. Let me know what you'd like me to try out next, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great weekend!